So in the last video, at the end of quite a long rant of my 2011 MacBook Pro, yeah, unfortunately it turned out to not be the review most people expected, I made this announcement that I had just ordered the 16-inch MacBook Pro, finally, and unfortunately, from the looks of it, it's going to take until March to get here. That's what I get for having to wait so long. I thought because, well, you know I've been actually waiting to order this thing for so long. Well, there's a few other Apple products that are on my wish list as well that I just haven't really dove that deep into. So why don't we actually do that? Okay, so I broke this into two different categories, which are A, must-haves, B, need-to-haves. So we're going to start with the must-haves, and the first thing on that list actually is an M1 Pro Mac Mini. Why this? Well, it's because I happen to have a music setup, and it is not very simplistic or minimalist by any stretch of the imagination. The problem when it comes to making an audio recording setup, or not just audio, but also music, you have to make room for so many different things. Like in my case, I have one unnecessary thing, an amplifier. I also have a mixer. I have a keyboard that is absolutely huge. I need to make room for displays, which I do not have much room for at all at the moment. The problem with an audio setup is that there are so many things you need to have. So while I did think about, well, why not just get an iMac because it's all in one, it's only one cable and all that, I realized cable management will just be more difficult. So to remedy the situation, my idea was place an M1 Mac Mini underneath the table where the music keyboard and my computer controls are, just mount it underneath that, and then route all my cables into that Mac Mini under the desk. It's simple and clean, sort of, because when it comes to dealing with audio equipment, avoiding a mess is literally impossible. And why the M1 Pro instead of the M1 or the M1 Max? It's because, for one, I'm only going to be driving two displays, which the M1 already can do, but I also want to make sure I have enough I/O headroom for if I need to add any extra equipment to it, because I mean right now I already have a bit of a mess. I have no idea if I'm going to have to add any more items to it, so I want to make sure that this Mac Mini is I/O capable, I/O ready. And why not the Max? It's because I have a feeling that the M1 Pro is already going to be overkill enough for what I'll be doing, so I don't necessarily think I need the Max variant. I mean, it's cool, but considering that the primary function of that computer is just to mess with my audio equipment, and I don't mess with my audio equipment that much, I don't think I'm going to care that much about the sheer processing power available in that. So I'm just going to stick with the M1 Pro in that. The next item on my wish list that I won't stick with the M1 Pro on is actually an M1 Max iMac, a 27-inch, or ideally it would be a 32-inch, and unfortunately neither of these Macs are out yet, but this is just what would be ideal for me. And I mean, they're in the leaks and rumors enough to the point where, yeah, I think we can predict what's coming out. The reason why I want the M1 Max iMac is because, well, sure, I mean, in March I'm going to have an M1 Pro MacBook Pro for on the travel, a Mac Mini to, well, at least help me sort of clean up my audio setup. What about when doing the majority of the things I do, like editing? Editing videos, I do much better if I have access to a large display. And, well, with the iMacs, you get a built-in large display, and, well, I've also been planning on hooking up two also large, I think I'm going to go for 32-inch monitors beside it, two of them at least. And because I have this thing where I need my desktop to have more power than my laptop, at least that's to me the ideal situation. Unfortunately, right now it is the complete opposite, and that delta between the two is going to increase even more dramatically in March. I like having more power in my desktop versus my laptop, so M1 Max, why not? The next item on my list is the 12.9-inch mini LED iPad Pro, and why is that? Well, because A, I'm largest display possible, so of course I'm going with the 12.9-inch. Also, ever since I've seen that mini LED display, I just can't go back. Colors are something that I notice so much, so after I saw that mini LED side by side with the regular LCD, I'm sorry, I gotta go mini LED. It's just that good. I also plan on using this iPad Pro for Photoshop and photo work, specifically thumbnails. I'm currently doing my thumbnails on my MacBook, and I mean, it's not too terrible of an experience considering all I'm doing is just slapping on a few PNGs on a gradient background and then adding text. It's not that difficult. difficult, but I'd like to do some slightly more advanced photo work than what I can get with a trackpad or maybe a mouse. Having the Apple Pencil will be very nice for that. Also, I mean, I still have this complaint. The 16-inch MacBook Pro, yes, it'll have the largest display you can get on a portable Mac, but the problem with that, it's still a small display. 16 inches compared to 27. It's still going to be a smaller display, and I'm going to end up losing a lot of screen real estate if I end up leaving my room or the studio or something like that. Sidecar will enable me to be able to tack on an extra 12.9 inches of screen real estate, which will be really nice on the go considering how much I value screen real estate. Other than that, it'll pretty much be the media consumption device and such like that. I mean, I've heard in the leaks and rumors that we're supposed to get a new iPad Pro with wireless charging and MagSafe that's able to charge your accessories, but here's the thing. I don't use my iPad that much. With that in mind, I don't really think I need to have the latest and greatest, even though that's up and coming. The only reason why I'm looking for this one right now, even though, yeah, supposedly in about half a year or so, we're supposed to get a new one. I don't care that much because, I mean, I'm still getting a mini LED display. I'm still getting the sidecar functionality, still getting that 12.9 inch big display. The rest of the iPad hardware features, I honestly don't care that much about. I mean, it's got Type-C, I like that, and Thunderbolt speeds, but I won't really be using that Thunderbolt speeds for much. And wireless charging, my battery habits are where I just plop all my devices on the chargers at night. And battery management software, I know people are constantly going nuts about this thing. Yeah, except we now have this cool thing called software optimization or battery management systems that allow us to do this. So that is why I still charge my devices overnight. I don't know why people are so mad about that. Judging by the features that are being reported with the new iPad Pros, honestly, I don't care. Even if I bought the 12.9 inch today, I don't care. I'll still be happy with it. The next item on my list is the iPhone 13 Pro Max. And the reason for this is because, well, you've already known, I discussed this in a few videos. It's because the camera feature set. I still hate the camera bump. I'm not changing that. I have not given into admitting that the camera bump is beautifully designed or whatever. I still hate it, and that's not going to change. But the features that it's coming with is something that I value more than having a nicely designed camera bump. So I'm going to be upgrading to the 13 Pro Max, hopefully soon. Next item on the list, I mean, I guess I probably should have put this on the needs to have, but this is something that I've actually been getting a little annoyed and frustrated with. The Apple Watch Series 7. I've been wanting an Apple Watch for so long now, and I've still been sticking to my regular analog watches right here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. Like, for example, my watch that I'm wearing right now is a Sterling. This Sterling watch honestly has great looks, awesome durability. I bumped this against very sharp tools and machines at my job, and there's still not a visible scratch on this display. Seriously, I'm actually looking for some right now, and I can't find any. I don't have any complaints with my watch right now, but I still like to have a smartwatch. I'm ready to move on from these fancy collector's item watches right here and start actually getting, technically, the best smartwatch in the world. I'm serious. Apple Watch is the #1 selling watch in the world. Not just smartwatch, #1 watch. Apple Watch Series 7. And while you could say, might be better off waiting for the Series 8 and such, because it'll get the new squared off design and all that, I don't care. It's a watch. I just don't. Next one, and okay, some people are going to call me nuts and crazy for this, especially audiophiles, but then again, I actually discovered I'm an audiophile myself, so let's actually get into it. AirPods Max. Why is this on my must-have list? Because first of all, compared to the competition, they are very expensive. They still charge via Lightning, and Lightning exclusively. They come in this very dumb case that looks like women's clothing. Why in the world would this be on my must-have list? It's because, unfortunately, I am in a position where I need a pair of very good sounding headphones, but I also need them to be able to hardwire connect to my Macs. I mean, my iPhone, I don't care. I don't do any audio editing. That's the primary reason why you want these. It's for audio editing. And while, yeah, many of you can argue, they're not really designed for that. They're not, like, for example, they can't even play back lossless audio. But here's the thing. Most headphones that people buy usually don't support lossless anyways. And I want to make my videos for the average consumer. And the average consumer is not going to go out and buy an extremely high-end set of headphones with lossless audio playback. Very few people are going to do this. So I'm just questioning, why should I spend a lot of money on a pair of headphones just so I can edit audio features that for the most part nobody's even going to hear or care about in the first place? So that's why the lossless quality is not a big concern to me. Lossless audio is not a big concern. And I do agree, the fact that it charges via Lightning and Lightning only, it's dumb. The case still looks like women's clothing to this point. Though for the most part, the only time I would utilize that case is if I'm traveling, like just to add, I mean, they're not very protective, but just some form of protection just in case. Though most of the time, if they're going to be at home, which they will be most of the time, they're probably going to remain out of their case. That's pretty much the biggest reason why I want AirPods Max. It's because I know Apple's sound quality. I love it. It is amazing. It is really hard to compete with. I mean, for the longest time, so many people were adamant. Sony XM4, whatever that, they do such a bad job at naming their stuff. The Sony headphones, whatever it is they're called. They were the standard before, and then AirPods Max came out, and evidently they say the bass is muddy on the XM4s. I've never listened to them in person. I know Apple prioritizes sound quality in their speakers by a lot. They have very high margins on the quality of it, so yeah, I'm just going to spring for AirPods Max, even though they cost $550 and come with a pair of basically women's clothing. The last item on the must-have list, and I'm surprised I don't have it yet, it's the Apple Card. Why do I not have this? It's because I don't usually do online shopping that much. Most of the time, I actually go to physical retail stores. That, and for the most part, I'm not making very large purchases. I mean, whenever I use my debit card, which is pretty much what I'm using right now, whenever I use my debit card, it's pretty much paying for gas for my car. That's it. Otherwise, I pay cash for most things else. Unfortunately, from the looks of it, this year I'm actually going to be buying a lot more Apple products, and obviously Apple products are expensive. And unfortunately, my debit card has this stupid limit on it that will not let me purchase things for over $200. I'm serious. I actually tried to go to the ATM one time to grab cash, and it actually detected that as a fraudulent charge because it's over $200. I had to pay off my dad from borrowing money just so I could fix my car up. And I couldn't even go to the ATM just to get cash. So with those dumb restrictions and all that, I think I really need to get the Apple Card. And why the Apple Card? First of all, I'm already in the Apple ecosystem. I think it's great. You can say I'm trapped and I'm a sheep and all that, but honestly, it's really hard to not like products that are amazing. With this Apple Card, it's basically a credit card that will also help you save money. I mean, it's free to apply for. You still get cash back on no matter what purchase you make. You just have to use the Apple Card as a payment method. Like if you use the physical card, no matter where you go, you'll still get 1% cash back. If you use Apple Pay, you'll get 2% cash back. And if you shop at select stores or whatever, they have a certain list of stores, then you'll get 3% cash back. Nice! I like that. Pretty much, whenever you use the card, you're pretty much getting paid to use the card. Albeit, it's a very small margin, yes. That doesn't change the fact that you're still basically getting paid to use the card. I like it. That's pretty much all on my must-have list. There's a few things that would be neat to have, but are not exactly that high priority, and it's because I'm trying to find a use case where I would use it a lot. The first thing is the Apple TV 4K. Finding a TV operating system that is actually decent is really hard. The problem is the way Apple sells their TV operating system has to be in the worst form possible. The TV box. This means, okay, I can purchase the Apple TV, but I still have to go out and find either a monitor or a large TV or whatever to plug this box into, versus the simplistic method that is currently going on in the household right now. It's basically our Samsung TV with the system built into it. I like that. It's simple. Why doesn't Apple have something like this? because right now the current Apple TV setup, it's not simple, which is kind of weird. Apple's all about simplicity, aren't they? That's kind of odd. So yeah, it is something that I would like, but I'm just not in a big rush to get it, primarily because the form they sell it in is not very useful for me, to be honest, because then I have to go out and buy a monitor and such, speakers. It's a mess. Next item on the list, it might actually surprise you a bit, but I actually have another iPhone on the list, and what I'm about to say is actually going to make you think I'm crazy. iPhone 13 mini.
Whoa! The big screen adamant person just said he wanted to get an iPhone 13 mini? What? Is he crazy?
Okay, let me explain. Whenever it comes to recording audio, especially outside, it sucks because my phone is like a car's width distance about, and there's all this wind getting in the way. So I need a better solution for my audio, and the best thing I can think of is having a lav mic attached to my shirt and then running it to a recording device in my pocket. Okay, and I've been thinking about getting the iPhone 13 mini as that device that records my audio whenever I do outside shoots. I mean, I haven't been doing that lately because it's freezing out there right now. It has been on my mind of the possibility of getting that so I can actually do a better job at recording audio. That's why the 13 mini is on my list. It's not neat to have, but not high priority. The iPhone 13 Pro Max is the high priority. And then the last item, well, maybe just more AirTags. I mean, I'm still losing things constantly, so more AirTags would be nice. Okay, so those are all of the Apple products that are currently on my wish list. 16-inch MacBook Pro is coming. Yeah, that would have been on the wish list if I didn't order it, but because I've ordered it, yay! It's coming, and it'll be coming in March. I am very impatient, and actually, as I am filming, I've also ordered a couple of accessories to go with it that should be coming this Tuesday, actually. So when those come, I'll actually do quick unboxings of them, even though I won't be able to get to use them with my new laptop for at least another month. I'm excited. Thank you for watching. Do me a favor and interact with the stuff below. My name is Alpha DeWolf, Random Alpha, signing out.